Hello, everyone. Welcome to another awesome Wood Things video that is Adobe Now. Learn Adobe Now. We are going to look at some of the new features that came in the Adobe March 2018 update. So if you have the Creative Cloud and you see a little notice up in the a menu bar that says you need to update it, boink, click that update, and like magic, you'll have a few new features in Adobe Illustrator. It's going to be fun. And one of the chat participants asked to see some scroll saw pattern workflow steps. So I'm going to break away from Adobe Illustrator and do some Photoshop work too, and show you how to take a photo and make it ready for scroll sawing, which is awesome because we have a lot of makers here. Oh, hey, let's take a look at the chat room. This is a Learn Adobe Now video. This will eventually, this type of weekly hangout will happen over on the Learn Adobe Now channel. But for now, we're here. Let's say hello to some folks in the chat room. Tracy, hello. Tracy Keaton. Al from Odessa Woodworking and Maker Shop. Pete's Bunker Handcrafts, hello. Heath Knuckles is here, my man. And Herb Lichtenberg. Hi, Herb. How are you? John Mack is here. Hi, John. Hello, hello. Oh, Al's giving the Spock hand. Love that. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so as I was saying, we're going to do two things today. We're going to look at some of the new features, and we're going to turn some photos into scroll saw pattern type of artwork. So if anyone in the chat room has photos that you would want to turn into a scroll saw pattern, shoot them over to me on the Facebooks. All right, let's start playing, shall we? And make sure I get the right screen here to screen share, present to everyone. Okay. Illustrator. Open. All right, let me pull up some files. Shogun Jimmy's here. Hi, Shogun. We're just getting going here. Two things today. New features of Illustrator, and we're going to take some photos and turn them into scroll saw patterns. If anyone has photos that they want turned into scroll saw patterns, let me know. Send them to me on Facebook. All right, so let's get some fun stuff happening here. Okay. Oh, and you know what? My palettes are all over the place today, folks. There we go. That's the way I like it. All right. Got my stroke panel permanently on the bottom. I love that. And layers. All right. Now, the March 2018 software update. Let's take a look at what they did. First of all, there's some new preferences. So let's go down here and look at some stuff. So Command K on the keyboard or Control K for Windows. Under Selection and Anchor Display, we've got these three new things. This slider, these two icons, and then this checkbox here. They're all new. So by default, you can see these handles, see the size of the anchor point squares or the direction handle points, the circles. All right, so Command K, then you select this item here and crank this up. Now look how big they are. Okay, so now we have much larger anchor points and much larger direction handle points, the circles. All right. Why is this useful? I don't know. I tend to have things get in the way, and I like things smaller. So, as impressive as this is, it's a big meh on my scale. All right. Handle size, or I'm sorry, handle style. So now we've got this hollow one. Um, so now see how they're white? Let me crank up the size so we can see it. So now they're white, and you can have them filled with white, or well, wait a minute. What am I doing there? Command K, and you can have them be black or filled with the color. Adobe watched yesterday's Makers International podcast and went big. Huh. I'm reading the chat here. Cool. Um, so why are some blue and some white? Well, and why did they give you that choice? One will never know. And then this one has a pretty good use here. So this is the way the tool behaved. So I can select an anchor, it becomes blue. And then if I command click or shift click another anchor, that becomes selected. And so you see, and then the handles kind of show up all the appropriate points, but they don't all show up. Well, if you go to this one, wham, boom, 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 boom. Look at that. They're all there. And that's if you use the group selection tool, they'll all show up. This circular one, you can really see it the most. Or you can do it the old way, where only what you've clicked shows up. Let me switch back to this direct selection tool. So that's a couple new things there. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. All right. There's three groupings of things. The next thing has to do with um, importing PDF files into Illustrator. So let's take a look at that. Go to Place, find some PDF files, and oh, well, that's odd. Let's try that again. Show import options. Ah, here we go. That's weird. That's not behaving the way that the web page said it would. Let's look at the web page. So here's the summary of all of the changes that happened. There were the three changes. Import multi-page PDF. So I should get this type of thing here. So each one of these groupings has its own details job aid. So let's go there. Oh, file open. Oh, see, I did file place. Okay, file open. Let's try that. And I'm learning as I go here, folks. File open. That's right. Okay. So both of these PDFs are 2 pages. There we go. All right. See, now you've got this all button there. Okay. That button, that all button didn't used to be there. You could only or open one page at a time, because PDFs are great. They open directly into Illustrator. And a lot of times if PDFs have line art in them, you get all that too. So that's good. Okay, so now you can say import all. Oh, I'm sorry, well, you're technically opening all. Hit OK. And now you have a 2-page document. Look at that. 2 pages. Not one at a time. Two. Try this again. File open from Deep Short. And let's talk about this option here. There is import PDF pages as links for optimal performance. So now this is linked. Remember we talked about this in one of our other shows. So things can either be embedded or they can be links. So they're links now with the big X on it, or you can embed. And now that it's embedded, well, it's throwing me some font problems, but that's neither here nor there. And now all of these things are real objects from the import of Illustrator. Now look, all my handles are real big again. My handles, my anchor points. Let me go back into this. Get my anchor points down to a normal size. What am I, some sort of barbarian? How's the chat room going? Any questions? Call it out in the chat. All right. That is importing, not importing, opening PDFs as one or multiple pages. Yeah, not too exciting, but do you know how hard it is to watch this and drive? Oh my gosh, Chad. Chad from Mancrafting. Do not watch this and drive. I do not support Hangouts on air and driving. You can just listen, though. So how about you just do that? All right. Let's talk about the last thing. Maybe I'll skip it if the chat room wants to. But let me explain what it is, and then we'll get into our Now, Chad told me he got home from the show. I'm back from the show, by the way. I was at the Atlanta show. Had a good time. Good time. And my throat's a little scratchy. I don't know if that's coming through or not, but hey, is what it is. Okay, the last thing. And maybe I'll do a whole other show just on this last one. And that is working with comma separated value data to make multiple images. So here's the long and short of this. Say you're making name badges and you have your company logo, and the only thing that's different is the person's name. Well, you can create a merge file and then splash in all of the names that have changed. So it could be Tracy Keaton, it could be Herb Lichtenberg, it could be Heath Knuckles, and it could have the same company logo with your name underneath it with this merge type of thing. Kind of like, I don't know if anyone's familiar with like Microsoft Word mail merge, where it can kind of do that type of thing. Well, Illustrator can now do it, so you don't have to leave Illustrator to do that type of stuff, which is pretty exciting. Does anyone want me to try and figure this out on the air, or should we jump into some scroll saw fun? So type scroll saw or mail merge if you prefer. Yeah, last year was a blast. Jimmy's saying last year's a blast. It was. Jimmy, you were there last year. I should be going next year. So if you missed it, go to the woodworking show in Atlanta next year. All right. Share my screen again. Okay. Let's move on to the scroll saw. Hey, Mitch is here. Hi, Mitch. We are doing something different today. We're going to leave Adobe Illustrator and we're going to work in Photoshop and see how I do my scroll saw pattern. So we'll do scroll saw patterns. So let's do that. So here I've got some photos. And this is Tracy's photo. Tracy, thank you for sending this along. And this can get turned into a scroll saw pattern. So what is a scroll saw pattern? Well, um, it's a bitmap image where every pixel should either be black or white, or at least that's the way we're going to attack it. So we need to get this into an all black and all white file format. Ultimately, this is what we'll do. So we'll go image mode. Let's move it to grayscale first. We want bitmap, and then image mode bitmap, like that. So that's what we're going to try and get to. Now, this is what I consider just the default. So what I've done there with two actions, one, taking all the color away and changing it to grayscale, and two, slapping it to bitmap and keeping the default settings. And what were those default settings? The default settings were if the pixel is 51% or darker, it becomes black. If the pixel was 50% or lighter, it becomes white. So that's the math that's happening. If I undo bitmap and I go back to that dialog, this is what it's saying here. Bitmap. I know this is kind of tiny on the screen, but it's saying 50% threshold. So anything that's 50% or under is white, 50% or over is black, or 51% and over is black. There's different ways to do that. We won't use any of those when we're dealing with scroll saw pattern. That's the one we want. But you'll notice there were some problems here. Doesn't look good down here. This might be too dark. This might be too dark, and we don't want the words. So we'll deal with that. So let me undo bitmap. Okay. And let's just revert the whole file. Okay. So what do you do first? Okay. Low-hanging fruit. The words are not needed. Tracy told me that. So that's easy. You can either clone them out. Kind of scrub them out that way. Or this is just so convenient, we can just crop it out. So boom, done. I don't think this black thing's really part of it down here. I don't think it is, but we can take that out too. So I'll get the clone tool out, target here, and just sort of paint that out. All right. Now, why am I in color? Okay, let's go to channels palette. Who here knows what the channels palette is? This shows the different colors in the document. So by default, we have RGB. So it's showing the red, the green, the blue. But you can target just one or the other. So this is a representation of what the green, what the red looks like in that document. So this is just the red channel. In other words, something that's 100% dark is 100% red. Same thing here. Dark things, it expresses it in black and white, but you have to think of it as the amount of color that exists, but just in black and white. So this is blue. So just by looking at this, I mean, this is a pretty monochrome thing to begin with. Maybe not the best example for this lesson, but the idea is right away I can see that one, like which one has the most difference between white and black? Like, is it this one? Well, no, that has a lot of medium grays. Is it that one? Well, yeah, it's that one because this is mostly black and mostly white. So this one might be a good thing. This has the most variation between black and white, where this has less things white. So this is a poorer choice, and this is a better choice. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight all, or Command A, or select all, copy, go here, paste. Now, um, you know, so now I don't have to worry about that. So tip number one, peek through the channels and see if which one has the greatest representation of light to dark. And depending on how much color is in the object, this might not even be an exercise worth doing, or it might. So in this case, it was, since it was kind of monochrome to begin with. All right, then what I like to do is break out some of my adjustment tools. I usually go to curves, but let's go to levels. Okay, levels. Who here knows what levels are? Those with digital cameras probably know this pretty well. This represents, oh, I'm only on the red space. Here, let me get on RGB. So levels, image, adjust, levels. This shows how much color there is in any given space, from white to black to gray. So you see no little spikes over by the black. That's because there are no solid black pixels. Well, let's change that. You bring this over, and now there is a very small amount of solid black pixels. Now there's more. Now 3/4 of the image is solid black. See how that's working? So it's sometimes good just to kind of pinch it. Um, you know, bring it in, and then you can kind of move the midpoint as well. But I think I'm going to leave the midpoint away. So that might be a good place to start. Maybe not all the way. We'll just kind of go there. Okay. So now there's a lot of variation between white, and now we put some black in here because black was missing. Let's go to, that's really cool. Hey, thanks. Let's go to curves. Curves is sort of the same thing, only expressed differently. Where what was it called? Adjust, image, adjust. Levels. Levels is expressed on one plane, like the horizontal plane. Curves, Command M is curves. Curves expresses it sort of on a grid, where everything up here is the whitest of whites and everything down here is the darkest of darks. And it's called curves because you can kind of influence the range on, you guessed it, a curve. So now here, anything that was 50% black got 25% more light. But down here, anything that was 25% white got much more white, or sorry, everything that was 25% white got whiter, but less. So this jump was a whole block here. 25. If this is 25%, 50%, 75%, 25%, 25%, 25%, the whole way up there. And then this, so do you see how that's kind of doing? So anything that was really black just got a teensy bit lighter. And everything that was really white just got a teensy bit whiter. But anything that was in the middle got a lot whiter. Okay? Jimmy, this is Photoshop, just the pro version, I believe. Yes, this is Adobe Photoshop CC. But curves are a pretty basic thing that I think is in a lot of stuff. So now you can like work this graph to try and see how the image reacts. And again, what you want is a high concentration of white and black and hardly any midtones because you want the midtones to melt away because they won't show up on the scroll saw. I thought he was teaching the other program. No, we broke out into not in Windows Paint. We broke out into Photoshop because hey, it's learn Adobe. It's not necessarily learn Illustrator, but um, hey, a lot of makers are here, and a lot of makers do scroll saw work, so we'll do that. All right, so this is just kind of getting rid of some of the gray values. I'll just punch it up just a little bit. Hit OK. All right, now we're getting closer. Now if I go to grayscale and go to bitmap, 50% threshold, well, now it's getting a little better. Okay, better than that first attempt. But let's go backwards. History. Delete that history step. Delete that history step. All right. Let me shrink up here. No worries. All right, let's do some more adjustment tools. We will do hue saturation. Okay. Paul John's Life is here. Hello, Paul John's Life. Thanks for joining us. We are taking a photograph and making it a scroll saw pattern, and we're doing this in Photoshop. So buckle up. All right. Here is some good treatments you can do here. Lightness throws all white, darkness throws all black, useless. Saturation, not very good on an all black and white image, nor is hue. So let's, no, I didn't want that. There's another one here, adjustments. Um, all right. Quite a mustache. Isn't that cool? All right. Well, let's see again what this looks like. So we'll go back into bitmap. That's awful. Well, maybe not. Undo. Redo. Undo. Redo. Undo. I guess what I'm seeing is, down here, like some of these areas, let me circle them. Like some of that stuff and this stuff. I don't know if we would want to represent that in Chipped Builds is here. Hi. We're taking a photograph and turning it into a scroll saw pattern. So this should be fun. We're working in Photoshop. Thumbs up for Photoshop. And it's Photoshop CC. Okay, so we want to maybe think about doing something with this because I don't know if that would show up. Like maybe on the scroll saw, these little hash marks might show up. So let's maybe kind of circle this. I have a 2-point feather and maybe go into my curves. Command M calls up the curves, and and here's all those middle values. And now white's down here. So if I pull this down, it should get brighter. The idea is you maybe want that to go less than 50%. It looks kind of odd there. There's a blob. But if I turn this into bitmap, yeah, see, look, it kind of melted it away. The idea was some of these shaded effects, we just want them less than 50% because we're taking it on the 50% threshold. And see this eye? This eye got mostly black, didn't it? Let me look at that bitmap. See, that might be a little much for the scroll. So I wonder if I can bring out more detail in that eye. I'm doing it here. Let me do that. Let me we'll kind of out or select that, bring out my curves, and then see this medium stuff. Let's kind of make that whiter just to see if it looks different. And we'll change that to a bitmap. If there's anyone else in the chat room that has a photo that they want turned into a scroll saw pattern, send it to me through Facebook, facebook.com/Matt Haas, Matthaas. And maybe some of you already did that. Let me check my Facebook before I go asking for more. All right, I'll check Facebook in a minute. Okay, so now that I punched that up a little lighter. All right, did that get better? Well, I think before it was more black here, so I got a little more definition. So that's not bad. Are you going to cut this out? This could be used. Chip Builds asks if I'm going to cut that out. This will be cut out on a scroll saw. It's not a project I'm going to do. I'm going to give this file back to the person who gave it to me, Tracy Keaton in the chat room. She gave it to me. Thank you, Tracy. And if she wants to, she can do that. I guess, I could go through and I could kind of treat these areas, which look great on the original. Let me save this. And pull up the original. You can see it before and after. See, these shaded areas looked great as an illustration, but they might not represent well over on a bitmap. So I might go through and I might make these lighter just so these tick marks show up. Oh, Tracy said she will scroll saw it. That's good. And the only other thing I'll do before I'll leave this is I might go in and actually start painting stuff in, because the filters can only get you so far. Like I might put something here like that to represent that's like maybe a backlit highlight on the mustache. So I might go through and give that type of a treatment, and I might break out the black, and I might kind of put a couple more of these in like that, or not. It just depends. I will save this here and actually save it as a file. Um, Save it as a JPEG. I'm getting there, folks. All right. So let's go to Photoshop, or let's go to see if I got any. Nope. No other photos to turn into scroll saw patterns. Let's go find some. Hey, know what mom knows is here. Thanks for checking in. Oh, she's reminding people to give the thumbs up. That would help. Yep, mom's busy. She's a busy, busy person today. All right, let's Darth Vader. Pull that pick. All right. Darth Vader close up. So yeah, I wish I could say awesome with things, but just give a thumbs up. Have a great night, everybody. Bye. Bye, Mom. Darth Vader would be cool to do. Okay, let's find a cool Darth Vader photo. And remember, the best scroll saw photos have a lot of difference between dark and light. So, yeah, someone shoot me a link, and I'll look on the web here till we can find one that has a lot of difference between light and dark. Oh, that one's nice. Well, that one looks like it's at Universal Studios or Disney. Oh, look at that one. That's more of an artistic rendering. But that might be good because there's a lot of difference between the dark and the light. See, this one could be epic where it just gives a hint. Like I could see this one really working well because it's mostly black, but just a little hints of shape. That might be good as like sort of a stylized version. Let me pull that one down. Try that one. And let's try another one. Get ourselves a few to pick from here. No, he's got the fist. I like that. See, this one has a little bit more highlights. Try that one. And let's go for one more. What? Look at that. Alien and Darth Vader. Dear God. My brain is exploding. Do we do this one? I don't know if we did this one or not. Okay. Open these up in Photoshop. And get that away. All right, we've got onesies, twosies, and three. Close that one. Oh, did you? Wanted you out. Just arranging some stuff here, folks. All right. There we go. All right. Step number one, let's get them all grayscale. 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 All right. And let's just slap them right to bitmap and see what we got. We might have something usable. Oh, no. See, not good. Not good. All right. Let's try this one. Right to bitmap. Nope. Not feeling it. Maybe this one. Maybe we'll get lucky. That's not bad. Again, this was going to be the stylized one. Okay, so at least now we know kind of what we're getting at. Looks like I had a good time in Atlanta. Yes, sir. Had a great time in Atlanta. So much to see, so many good people to talk to, seeing some old faces and some new faces. Oh, yeah, that's me. All right, so, well, when I did this one, I liked the top of the helmet. Like, that's working for me. Down below, not so much. So let's do something about that. So I have my lasso tool here, 2-point feather, and I'm just going to kind of lasso this like that. Ugh, very good. I'm just doing this real quick on the fly here, folks. I'm minusing and now I'm adding. This all has to do with selection. So I'm just selecting this. Sorry, Matt, and you guys got to go as well. Take care and make awesome stuff. We'll do, Pete. No problem. Thanks for all the subs. Phone just went nuts. I'm trying to be more active. Second vid of the year posted yesterday with 3 or 4 already started. Look at that. Paul John's breaking into it. That's great. All right. So now let's just influence this bottom part. So we'll break out my curves again. And here we go. Now we can see most of the detail is in the dark space. So see it how it's dark over there? Let's kind of pull this out or bend it down a bit. Let's kind of do that. So now anything that was light in color became absolute white. So everything here over is absolute white, but there wasn't that much white in it. Okay. And then anything that was gray, 50% gray, got pushed down that much. Everything that was around 25% gray got pulled down a little bit. So let's just do that. So this was before. Oh, go to history. So it was before, after, before, after. Okay, so not much of a difference visually, but let's see if that brings out more detail when I go to bitmap. There we go. That's not too shabby. I won't be starting a new vid until April 15th. Shogun Jimmy. Okay. Do a show on tax returns, Jimmy. Knuckles, those hybrid resin blanks are cool. All of Heath's resin blanks are cool. Come on. I don't know, guys. I think I like this. Pretty epic. I'm going to call this one done. So I'm going to save as. This one here. This sure beats Googling clip art. Yeah, come on. We're all creative here. We can push these pixels around, show them who's boss. Okay, this was way too dark. Okay, way too dark. So let's get some more light in here. Bring up my curves. And as you can see, there's hardly any white in here. There's just a couple specks of white. Go like that. Right away. Let's even bend it down more. All those grays, we're really pushing them down. So anything that was 50% gray is now just 15% white. That's a major difference. Look at that. Off, on, off, on. That could do it right there. Mode, bitmap. Come on, baby. Oh, that's not bad. Not bad. I think I can push it some more. Shop remodel. Ooh, Jimmy's remodeling his shop. Nice. I need more white. Now I'm cranking it up even more. Now let's try it. Image mode, bitmap. There we go. That's not a bad scroll saw pattern. What do you think of that one? Think we're getting there. Making some cool patterns. Any other subject matter you want to see turned into a scroll saw pattern? Let me know. we'll do this one. What was wrong with this one? This one was way too black, I think. Yeah. It's not dissimilar to this one. I have the feeling this one's going to be very, very similar. K. Well, why do I keep doing K? Command M curves. All right, let's make things more white. Oh, see? I like the top of that. Let's try that. Image mode, bitmap. That's not bad. All right, let's look at all of these. I think we got 3 good patterns here. I think we got 3 really good patterns. Matter of fact, I like the one. Which ones do you like the best? 1 on the left, 2 in the middle, 3 on the right. I think I kind of like 3. Seems like it would be an easier pattern to scroll. Or some of these are a little more complicated. The third one is really nice. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to save these. Number 2 for me. Yeah. Yeah. Now the two would be for the advanced scroller for sure. Here's a challenge for you. Do a layered scroll saw pattern like a football helmet with 2 colors. Okay, I will. Two colors. Hmm. I think this is just going to be too easy. CNC. Trying to get a. Okay, here we go. Green Bay Packers would be nice. Oh, I did a coloring book for Green Bay Packers as a job. Yeah, I had a job making coloring books for the NFL, and the Packers were the first book. All right. NFL, don't sue me for using your images on my show. Okay, well, what would I do? Let's look at channels. Remember, channels expresses the image based on their colors, the colors within the color space. This is RGB color space. So this is just red. Anything that's completely black is completely red. Anything that's completely black here is green. Completely black is blue. All right. So what can we salvage here? Well, let's say a 2-color scroll saw. So we would have to say um, it would either be the yellow would be a scroll saw color, and then everything that's not yellow would be a scroll saw color. Matt, do the cheesehead pattern helmet. All right. Green Bay cheesehead helmet. This? That's what you want? All right, we'll do that. Jimmy, you give me a thumbs up if this is what you want. Nope. He says nope. Damn. Well, you're an admin or a mod. Find a graphic on Google and put the link to the page in the chat, and I'll pick it up. Because if anyone else puts a hyperlink in the chat, it will reject it per the default policies. Okay, while Jimmy's doing that, I'll work on this. So, well, let's do this. Let's select color range, and I'll click and add that. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Jimmy. Got your link. Oh, so not a helmet, but a cheese. Well, that's not two colors. Let me do this guy. More pixels. Trying to find one that has a lot of pixels in it. Jeez. Tools, size, medium. Look at that. Size large. Yeah. I like this guy. Let's do that. All right. 10 more minutes here, folks. Two color scroll saw pattern. Okay. Well, again, let's, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the color range. So what I'm doing is I'm holding the shift key down for the plus, and anywhere it's matches that color, it's going to select it. Hit OK. Copy. And get back to my program here. Vader, you go away. Adobe Photoshop. Let's see here. Let's go to layers. Shoot. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Did you say you were sending me your CNC, Jimmy? Yeah, I don't think Jimmy's sending out CNCs. Although never say never, right? Okay, I'm going to do a new layer. And I'm going to paste into or paste in place. And now that's just that. So now let's make all of that. Can you check for floaters? Yeah, I can check for floaters. We'll get to that. So now, oh, here, let me do this. Undo. Paste. Paste in place. Oh, you know what? Let's do this instead. Let's go to channels, new channel. Okay. Target that channel. Paste in place there, and then fill with white. I think it's Command F5. Welcome to VoiceOver. No, it's not. It's Shift F5. Fill with white. There we go. And then let's bring that alpha channel as a selection. And we'll go back to the layer. Select, well, let's select all and delete it. Sorry. Blank layer, have a selection, and then let's fill with black. There we go. That is the layer for yellow on the scroll saw. Okay? Flush twice. Back to lurk mode. Can you check for, okay. And then when this turns to bitmap, those the grays will go away, and then we'll clean up the floaters. Um, well, let's do that. So let's do a save. Save as a JPEG. Cheesehead. Yo. Okay. Back to here. So now this is its own standalone file. And let's get rid of the grayscale, or let's get rid of the grayscale. So we'll go to bitmap. There we go. Channels and selections like it's new to me. Pretty cool stuff. Oh, let me tell you, folks, when you're learning Photoshop, two things you need to know: channels and layers. 90% of everything that's in Photoshop are those two concepts: channels and layers. Channels represent a selection. So, and most of what you do is selecting stuff. You do very little things in Photoshop that aren't selecting stuff. Selecting stuff is where Photoshop is at. Um, okay, so there's yellow channel for Cheesehead. And let's go back to background. Okay, so now we're back to the color. I've hid this top layer, which is the channel we just made. And we still have an alpha channel down here, but we're not going to be playing with that. Just going to deal with the color space and the background. All right, now let's make everything that isn't yellow scroll solvable. Okay, so let's bring this channel into a selection. And I'm going to duplicate this background. So the background's highlighted, duplicate. And I'm going to hide the original. So now I'm just going to be playing on a copy. And let's just fill with white. Call it the fill dialog box, Shift F5, fill with white. Okay, so now we're going to ignore all of that. All of that's going to be ignored. This would save me hours and hours. Hey, that's awesome. I'm helping people. I like it. All right. Let's just do the thing again. Let's look at our layers. Red, green, blue. Red, green, blue. Which one has the most difference between light and dark? This one, that one, or that one? Well, not that one. You know what? I want to bring out his eyes here. I'm going to go with this one. I think that might work. Let me look at just RGB. Well, let's just try it. Grayscale and bitmap. Not working. Not working for me. Undo. Break out the history. Undo. Undo. All right. Let's try that. Select all. Copy. So I just copied the green layer. I'm going to make a new channel, a new layer. Sorry. Paste. Now let's just try that. The green. This would have saved me hours and hours. Okay. I'm just reading the chat. Okay. Grayscale. Grayscale. And bitmap. No, it still didn't hold that eye over on that side. Undo. Delete grayscale. All right, let's I'm gonna highlight. Darn it. I'm just gonna select that. And I'm gonna make that lighter. So the dark's down here. The lightest of light is up there. And let's just kind of go like that. And now grayscale. And bitmap. Better. Better. Now, now that's starting to really come around, I think. Maybe a little more detail in the eye. Delete. I don't know if I don't think this is going to work, but let me just try it. So more white. This might look awkward. Image mode, bitmap. So you're just trying to play with 50% or darker than 50%. Oh, see how awkward that looked before I flipped it? Didn't even matter. That's not bad. So I could scroll this in one color, say green, and I can scroll this in another color. Get rid of all these palettes. Go away, palettes. So that's how I would do a 2-color scroll saw pattern. And then the floaters, well, just strip them out. You can even do block. So the little floater up there, strip it out. Floaters here, take them out. What's this weird stuff over there? Take it out. Don't want that. Gone. Gone. And then when I go to scroll saw, I don't know if this is the case for everyone here in the chat room, but I like to have the dark items be the thing I'm keeping. So you might want to invert some of that depending on what you want. Now this I would keep the way it is because I would be keeping things in yellow, and yellow is represented as dark. And here I would be keeping the things that are black. And yeah, so this would not work. But just don't be afraid to invert stuff. Adjustments, invert. Just completely opposites it. So there you go. We took a look at some new features in Illustrator, and we played with some photos and turned them into scroll saw using mostly curves and levels. But you can also get in there with the hue, saturation, and brightness, which I tried to do on some mostly monochrome stuff. But those are good ones too. I know Ryan over at Waylight Creations, he has a video about using the hue, saturation, and brightness to make scroll saw patterns. It's really good. Might want to check that out too. All right. Yeah, Jimmy gave me some challenging stuff. Yes, he did. Keep an eye out. These Hangouts will eventually be on the Learn Adobe Now channel. So you can find that on YouTube under Learn Adobe Now. But for now, they're going to stay on my Awesome Wood Things channel. And I'll be posting in the Facebook groups and on my Awesome Wood Things Facebook page. You can keep up to date with all the good stuff. And when this is over, these videos become unlisted. You can go to the social media posts and find the links to this to watch it on replay. It won't be on my YouTube homepage for the Awesome Wood Things page, the channel page. All right. I appreciate everyone. Thank you for playing along. Any questions on Adobe products? Let me know. I'm here to help. And it looks like I really helped someone, and that's awesome. Bye, folks. Love you all. Take care.